Welcome to Forever, man. Let's go. Come on. This forever. No surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here forever. Go. And there will be no surrender. Now allow me to reintroduce myself.
You're now tuned in to the Dads Who Live podcast. I'm Joel Staley with my co-host Tyler Gaeta.
You can also check us out if you like this sweet apparel that we've been wearing during the podcast. You can also get this stuff at www.dadswholiftapparel.com.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Dads Who Live podcast. I'm Tyler Gaeta.
Joel Staley.
As always. Hey, so recently we were blessed, had the opportunity to go to Atlanta. What was it, 2 weekends ago? Not this last weekend, but the weekend before. And we went to the Manfluential conference, which is a growth-minded business conference. But they had one day was about business, one day is basically about growth.
Yeah, it's Alpha M from the YouTube
Shout
star.
out to Alpha M.
And then Antonio Cetino, I believe I'm saying his name right, but I'm probably butchering it.
Yeah, and he's a YouTube guy too, and they were both there. We got to personally meet them. They were cool as hell. I know a lot of people in the group, when we put the picture up, were saying that they follow those guys. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that experience a little bit and kind of, what you took from it, what you learned. Unfortunately, that's the last Manfluential that they're doing. And they had talked about doing like a get-together or something in the future, which would be really cool. But we do want to, Joel and I, which it's just in the planning stages, but down the road, we would love to put on like a Dadfluential. Maybe it'll be next year, maybe the first one's in 2 years. It just kind of depends on how this folds out. We both have other ventures and things we're doing as well, but we're thinking if we could get, a group of guys together, growth-minded group of guys from the group, have a whole day maybe on, business and growth, and then a whole day on, dads, and have different
Family
speakers.
and fitness.
Family fitness. Have different speakers. I think it'd be a really cool deal. Pick a place and have it there every year. So, but what'd you get from the conference, man? Where were you at?
Well, first thing I realized was my style game is, believe it or not, pretty weak compared to some guys were showing up in 3-piece suits and a scarf and like some cool shit. Everyone was super dope.
Out.
Yeah. So that's always been, I've always had some shame in my game. I went with that Stitch Fix where they mail you clothes for a while, and that's been my best bet because that way I don't really have to do anything. It comes to me. It's a stylist picking stuff out for you. But as far as like dress clothes or even, everyday wear, hanging around some of those guys, I was like, wow, he looks really
And I
good.
normally don't give a fuck about that. I don't feel like you have to fucking... Some people say, dressed for success or whatever. I know tons of CEOs and people that just show up in whatever the fuck they want to show up in. But I do think there's a time and place for everything.
Right.
And it was cool. Like, I'm somebody that, V-neck and a pair of jeans is about as good as it gets usually.
You remember that dress for the job you want saying?
Yeah.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg. The guy's a good trillionaire, right? And he dresses like he's 17.
Yep.
I don't think what you wear, I think, is defining people anymore. It really isn't. I think it's changing completely.
Yeah, look at Andy Frisella, the MF CEO. He talks about multiple times how, I don't even know what they're doing now. They were doing $100 million a year, in their company, and he'll walk into work in sweatpants. He doesn't give a fuck.
I agree. MFCO also is like 320 pounds at one point. Mark Zuckerberg's got the bitch tits, we all know. Like, this might be on Facebook, so don't shut us down. Shit. But there is something to be said about, especially when you're in a big group setting like that. It's kind of a flex.
Look good, feel good.
It's kind of a flex. Is
look
like,
good, feel good.
Get on my level type
so
thing.
But you can wear, like, if you're the boss, you can go in and you know that today's not a day that you're not meeting with managers or whatever. You can go in and fucking wear your sweatpants and your V-neck or your shirt or whatever.
Right. Oh, yeah. Not an everyday type
And
deal.
as long as you still got your confidence and your swagger and, you're going to the gym and you're feeling good, you can still be... I definitely believe look good, feel good, but you don't have to. I mean, look good could be your appearance, like your body composition too. You know, like.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool to get like, so me, I'm somebody that never fucking dresses up like that. And so I had some stuff in my arsenal, and I went to Men's Warehouse before we left and dropped like a G just because I didn't want to be that guy. And I think I did pretty well, but it was cool. It was nice just to get out there and kind of dress up, suit up a little bit. It does give you, I don't know, just a different feeling, a little
Yeah.
more.
You know, when I look at The Rock sometimes, so when he wears his sweatpants and his workout gear, he still looks fucking good.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah,
what?
That's what I mean.
I'm like, dude, he could go to a conference or sit in front of a bunch of professionals in his tracksuit and look better than all of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's something
yeah.
to be said for that. So there is definitely something to be said about look and feel good. He could be fucking shirtless. It wouldn't matter. But yeah, there is definitely some. I 100% agree. There's something to be said about style game. But Joel, you got it, dude. You're cool.
I think
You
it's
got
an
that shit.
overall grooming style. You're taking care of your health and fitness, your physique. I think it all accumulates into an overall thing. So yeah, like unfortunately, I don't look like The Rock yet, but just recognizing that I'm wearing suits I bought in Bahrain 12 years ago in the Navy, and then like they're probably not going to be the coolest. And I'm wearing shoes that my uncle lent me like 10 years ago that I just never gave back.
I bet you still look pretty good in your all
I
whites.
looked all right. I looked all right.
In his all whites, you should have worn your all whites, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. You know how many? I mean,
Hey, that one suit was like shiny.
Yeah.
Matt, you had some compliments.
you
on
would have
that
been the
shit
ultimate
from 19 years
wingman
ago.
for Tyler. I know you're not single, but dude, that would have picked up.
Yeah, it was a Manfluential conference, so that was one of the.
There-
not a downside.
There had to have been some downtime.
There was like maybe 3 chicks there. You know.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
they were all
assistants?
pit bulls too.
Yeah, they were crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no. So the style thing I took away, really just
Hang on, we got a shout out to Uconnect
You connect belts.
belts. There was some vendors there, and the shit that they had. Like we don't promote things, and we're not getting any money from this, but they were just good products. So like Uconnect belts, Sheath underwear, which Joel and I are both wearing right now. Look up Sheath underwear, dude. It's got like this inside liner that cups your nuts. So like it's got an inside liner like a pocket, and you slide your nuts in it, and then it like cradles your balls and holds them. Oh, dude, it's so
And then
comfortable.
you poke your little willy through the hole,
There's like
and
a
it
hole
like
there and a
cradles
flap.
that. Yeah.
It cradles your dick.
They
too.
thought of everything.
Yeah, they're fucking amazing. So Sheath, I bought like 10 pairs.
Yeah, there's no going back to regular underwear once you get
No.
the sheath.
No,
They were
Really
made
game
by a
changers.
soldier who was in like, I want to say it was Baghdad or just overseas in the Middle East, and like him and his whole unit, their balls were just always sweating and tethered to their leg and just so uncomfortable. So he actually came up with these underwear, and yeah, it's a game changer. It feels like someone's just cradling you all night. It's nice.
And what was it? XYR?
Oh,
Shit.
yeah, I can't think.
I sent you a picture
Yeah.
last night. Let me look it up real quick so I'm not an asshole.
Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes regardless.
But there was a pair of boots, and this dude was super cool. Startup company. He presented YRX boots.
yeah, those
Super
things are
sweet. I
slick.
ordered a pair.
But besides just the style, just being around a lot of other guys who are, so I was geeking out during the networking events, talking about networking and paid traffic and sales processes, all this stuff to other guys that run online companies. A lot of like relationship coaches, some other stuff. But yeah, I don't get a lot of time to talk to people who actually know what I'm talking about or have awesome feedback, because not many people in my close circle run, internet businesses. So just being around people that went from broke as a joke to scaling to 7 figures in a few years, being around that, it just reminds you, it kind of invigorates you when you do get back home. Like, all right, this is why I'm doing this. Like, these guys did it. They were telling me what worked for them. They set them on the right track. It just kind of lets you know you're going the right direction. So that was very positive too.
That was the best thing for me too, is the connections. Just meeting all the people, and it is there's something to be said. You know, we talk about growth and like-minded people, but there's something to be said about how many guys were there? 700, 800?
Yeah, like
that.
700.
700 guys that are all, you know, if you're in that conference and you bought a ticket to go, you're growth-minded. I mean, you may not be a business owner, but you're trying to be the best person that you can be. You know, so just to be around that atmosphere and be able to talk to different people and bounce ideas off other people and see what other people are doing, and help other people. You know, I met a guy that's, you know, in one of the industries I'm in, and I was able to kind of talk to him and tell him what I've done to get where I'm at.
Yeah, he was an idiot.
Come on, he was a nice dude. He was just starting out.
One cool thing too is right when we walked into Manfluential, I'm like, all right, I got a network, shake some hands. First guy's hand I shake, it's Juan Solo from the Dads Who Lift group.
Solo.
He's like, Joel Staley, I bought your fitness program like 6 months ago. I was like, what?
Yep.
That was nuts. That's the first time anything like that's ever happened, especially
Shout
out
out
of
to
town.
Juan Solo.
Yeah. But no, I got a lot out of it. Being around like-minded people, knowing I got some shame in my game in my style, which I already knew that, but it's a nice reminder. And then, you know, I always hate leaving the family behind, but at the same time, it is nice to get away with you. Same thing. We're going to steak dinners every night. You're telling me about some issues you've had in your business before and how you rebounded. I get to tell you about like where I want to be and engage what you think about that. Just having some guy time in your life. I never understand the guys that get married or get a girlfriend and all of a sudden like they stop hanging out with the boys. I'm opposite. I need to get out I need to get out at least once a week and go get a drink with like a guy, especially maybe because I work from home too, so it's me and Champ all day and then I get the girls from 4 to 7. So just having that guy time was
And don't go to
huge.
Cheetahs.
Don't go to Cheetahs, I
Don't
heard.
go to Cheetahs in Atlanta. Yeah, Joel didn't go because he's married, but just don't. I heard from some people, don't go there.
Yeah, I heard it was a ripoff.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible place. No
So-
shout out there.
No shout out. I was gonna say we did check out 3 different steak places. All of them bomb.
Banging. Atlanta's got great food.
And then we had a speakeasy, the red phone booth, where you had to have the secret phone number to get in. And it's basically just this red phone booth. You go in, I think there's supposed to be a phone there, but you got to call from your cell phone now. Probably someone did something gross with the phone, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And
this fake door opens up.
Yeah, but it's like a cigar bar, super classy whiskey joint. You have to have a collar, a jacket on. Like the guy, I order an old fashioned. He picks up this giant block of ice and just grabs a machete and starts taking other orders. And he's chopping my giant ice block into a nice little smooth ice ball. It was like nuts.
So outside of the pleasure, though, there was some speakers that were really good too. So, I'm horrible because I can't remember anybody's names, but I remember what they said, right? So there was this guy about Bulldog mindset. And it's basically all about, as men, being in your masculine presence and going after what you want. And a lot of what he talked about is how feminine men have gotten nowadays and how, you know, a lot of guys are fucking beta males. And I'm not going to lie, there's been points in my life where I've been like a beta male too at some point. But I feel like I have come like full circle back into my masculine. And I feel like, man, I just feel better. I feel stronger. It's not like, you know, people have this perception, and he says it in his presentation too, but people have this perception that masculine men are assholes, you know? And it doesn't mean that you're an asshole. It means that you know your truth, you know what you believe in, you stand for it. And if that offends somebody, you know, you're not technically trying to offend them, then hey, sorry, you know, that's just not for you. Yeah, I'm not for you, and that's fine. You know, but for me, that goes all the way through. That can go through your life and your relationships. That can go through your business. Basically, just like whatever bulldog mindset, right? It says it all. Like whatever you see and want in your life, go for it. Don't let anybody stand in your way.
So the bulldog mindset was the one guy that if you ask questions, it's kind of a big ordeal. They walk over, hand you the mic. Again, you're like around 700 people and you got to ask a question. Half the time they can't even hear you, so it's always awkward. I didn't really want to be in that position, but we had a fitness panel with 4 guys up there. One guy was like 280, which he's a power lifter, so I get it, but no one was like, you look at him and you're like, wow, how'd you do it? It's kind of like average physiques. And they're talking about what you hear all the time: eat clean, move more, yada, yada, yada. But then the Bulldog guy comes on. He's 230 pounds. He ran 21 miles before he even gave that speech that day because he's training for a marathon. Like, not an ounce of fat on this guy, just arms the size of my head. And he says that he runs 4 times a week, he trains full body 3 times a week, and he eats 1 meal a day. So I'm like, all right, especially after this fitness panel, I got to ask this guy, how are you 230, eating 1 meal a day, doing all this cardio, and
steroids?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for, is like, are you juicing? Are you juicing, bro? But not knowing that it's basically, again, what I talk about almost all day, every day. He doesn't know I know anything about fasting. So he's like, well, it's crazy. I moved to Hawaii and my schedule is nuts. I found out I couldn't eat like a bodybuilder anymore, 6 to 8 meals a day, just chicken and rice. So
yeah, he went to vacation, I believe, in Hawaii or for work or something. But he was there for like a month or something, and he said just he travels so much it was hard for him to keep up with that, with all those meals.
Yeah, he does 1 meal a day, like 2,000 to 3,000 calories, and what he found out was even though he was eating way less frequently, all his lifts went up, his body fat went down, and it just totally freed up his schedule. So I was like, my man.
And steroids.
And steroids. Yeah, I didn't get what kind he was on, but
no, I didn't.
He was a cool dude. Very, very educated and motivating guy. I wish we knew his name. We'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, it was a cool experience all the way around, man. I don't really know what else to say about that fucking conference.
No, that was basically it. One thing I did want to get into, which it's kind of polarizing. Some people get offended. Some people will be like, hell yeah, I agree. Me and Amy were at the movies a few nights ago, and we saw like this heavy couple, putting it like very politely. They were obese, but they had their 3 kids with them. And in the hour and a half, 2 hour long movie, they the kids all each had their own nachos. They all had their own popcorn. They all had like 2 big things of candy each. Like literally throughout the whole movie, they're eating, and they weren't like, they were young kids. You could tell they weren't headed down the right path. And I get it. It's the movies. It could not be an every night thing, but you could tell with this, in this certain case, it was. And it just reminded me of a discovery call I had with a potential client a few weeks ago. He was saying that him and his wife were large, but his kids, like, they could eat anything. They were young enough where it didn't really matter. And I don't like to argue on those calls because then, no one ever signs up. But the thing is, like, the science is out there. Your habits, the personality you adapt to is defined by the time you're 5 years old. So they may not, gain 40 pounds of weight when they're 5 years old or 10 years old, but you're ingraining those habits, and that's something that your kids are going to struggle with for the rest of their life until they get help.
Look where childhood obesity is at, man. I mean, it's at an all-time high in the U.S., and it's crazy. And it's not like, I'll see overweight children, and I feel fucking bad for them. And it's not like, I don't think it's the kid's fault. It's the fucking parents' fault.
It's not, yeah.
Like, if you got a 9-year-old kid that's over, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it may be, like, that's your fucking problem. And even if you're not a fat ass as a parent, like, you're still not parenting your kids well enough to make sure that they're having structure and proper nutrition. And like, this is something that's really hard for me because my son is he eats like shit. He hates eating well, a lot like I do. I like to eat all the bad stuff. Now I've got to where I'm a lot better, because I don't want to be 1,000 pounds myself, and I like to have a good physique and feel good and be able to be there for him. But yeah, he likes to eat like shit, man. So it's a constant struggle, and I have to, so he's a kid that's like, he's always fucking skinny. He could eat whatever the fuck he wants. He could eat like shit every single day for the rest of his life probably and be all right. Like, his mom was super skinny, could never gain weight. Like, that's just, he's going to be tall and skinny, And so he'll say that. I'll be like, oh, I'm only like 52 pounds or whatever, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it, man. It's not the point. The point is that you are creating habits as a child that you're going to carry on into your adulthood. And if I let you eat like shit and not anything nutritious right now, when you get older, you're going to be a fat fuck. I'm telling you, it slows down. Like, when I could eat whatever the fuck I wanted until I hit 27. Now, from 27 to I'm now 31, I look at a fucking piece of pizza and I gain 100 pounds. You know? It just, genetics, man. You know?
Yeah, and it was probably hard for you to make that switch when you first started making weight or gaining weight, because you're like, I've done this all my life. What's the deal?
It was super hard, dude. So, and that's the thing. So it's, if your kid's overweight, look at childhood obesity, look at your life. And, you know, the worst part is when you have these, you know, huge parents and then you see these huge children and it's like, man, how are these kids ever going to get out of this? Because, you know, the parent can't get out of it. How the fuck are their kids going to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, so even if you go to a public pool these days, I remember the last time I was at a public pool this last summer, and all these chubby little kids are walking around with a bag of chips, like, while they're in line at the diving board. I don't know if it's a reward thing where parents are like, all right, you did something good, let's go out for ice cream, like, every night, or if it's you're still getting dessert even if you don't eat your dinner, or you're just not even making dinner, you're ordering dinner every night, which of course is going to add up too. I don't know where the problem is. I don't want to make those same mistakes because it is easy, even with Kennedy. Like, we'll go to TCBY and get some ice cream, and if we give her a bite, then she is going to bawl as soon as we stop giving her bites. Whether we eat all the ice cream and it's gone, or if we just take it away from her because she's had enough, she'll throw a fit and go ballistic. So I get it's easier just to be like, all right, take the ice cream, shut up, damn. Mm-hmm. But as a parent, you have to be aware of that. It's like you said, all the kids are fat these days. You go anywhere.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
A lot of
There's
them,
a lot
yeah.
of fat little kids out there.
Yeah, almost all of them are eating like shit, even if they haven't, like you said, it hasn't caught up to them yet. So
what I started doing is I started implementing basically healthy eating throughout the week. And, you know, on the weekends I'll let him have pop, but it's not like, I personally don't even like pop, so I fucking hate him having pop. But he'll get like a pop or like a Sprite. Nothing like, doesn't drink Mountain Dew or fucking, you know, Coke or anything like that. Caffeine free, you know, root beer, Sprite. So you can have a pop on the weekends. On vacations, I'm definitely a little more lax. You know, we're on vacation, so let's live life. But during the week and for that structure, I try to, as I'm dieting, I try to make sure he's eating clean. And then, like, I've even had to where, like, you know, I'll have a cheat day and I'll let him kind of have a cheat day, you know? Because life's about balance. You can't fucking, you know, you can't be so structured and so, like, here, you know, that you're missing out.
yeah, and I don't want people to think that's my message by any means. Oh, give my 9-year-old
But the majority
broccoli
of the
and
time,
chicken every day.
they should be eating healthy.
Yeah.
I make sure he's got a veggie, a fruit, and some sort of a solid meal almost every day throughout the week. Now, there are times, like, you know, I'm a single dad. There's shit happens. We have sports. I've got sports. He's got sports. I've got boxing. He's got, you know, MMA. There's shit that happens that life happens, and sometimes I got to grab him fucking fast food or whatever.
Right.
But I try to keep it as few and far in between as it is. And I won't even eat fucking fast food. I don't like fast food. Like, I mean, I like all the junk food, but just something about the fast food, like, I just can't fucking eat it. So that's part of me that it's like, man, I don't even want to give my kid this because I'm not even going to eat that.
So that leads into our last podcast where we talked about leadership a little bit, and I had mentioned that as the dad, as the husband, you are the leader of the family, unless you're beta male, like you said earlier,
right?
Which hopefully you're not if you're listening to this. But how do you, if your wife's getting fatter, your kids are going down the wrong direction, even you yourself, you know, you're getting the dad bod, the pounds are coming on. What's your first move? How do you course correct?
So I can only talk, I'm single, I'm not married, so I can't talk about a wife because I have no fucking clue, just being honest. But as far as me and my son, if I'm putting on pounds, which definitely happens, and my kid's not putting on pounds, but if he's eating like shit or whatever it may be, it comes down to a structure, a plan. So I got to figure out what I'm doing to get my kind of life. Usually what happens is, you know, when I'm structured and I'm set in my plan per se, or, you know, my scheduled time or whatever I have to be successful, then I'm usually successful. Things go the right way. When I start gaining weight, that's when I'll fall out of that routine. Something came up. I didn't have time to prep my food, or something came up, so I'm going to skip the gym today. And for me, things go in patterns. Like I'll do really fucking good for a period of time, and then you'll like fall off for a period of time, and you'll start eating like shit, So I think consistency is the key. I'm a big fan of cheat meals. I don't think that even for kids, like, should a kid eat candy every fucking day? No. Should a kid eat ice cream every fucking day? No. But can they have candy and ice cream like maybe once a week? Absolutely. You gotta live your life.
Yeah.
So I structure it, but also enjoy your life.
You want it to still be a treat, not the norm.
Exactly.
You don't want,
if you have it every day, it's not even fucking.
You don't want
good.
a day like a night to go by and you're out of ice cream and the kids are like, "What the hell? After dinner every night we get ice cream." You want it to be on the flip side. Hey, you guys crushed it this week. You're doing good in school. You weren't a pain in the ass. Let's go get some ice cream. Oh, it's a big deal now.
The other thing too is be fucking active, man. Like, be active. It's crazy. I wrote out my, I've been in this routine, and I've got a pretty good morning routine and things that I do throughout a day for work and, working out and shit like that. But I actually wrote it out, and it's always in my head, but I've never actually wrote it out. And someone had asked me what my routine was, so I wrote it out like per hour every day. And it's fucking insane. It's like, gym, boxing, not boxing days, cardio, work, back to the, I'm very fucking active. And I find when you're active, one, you'll have, like, if you build muscle, you have muscle memory, right? So I can fall off for a little bit of time, and I can come back and get right back on it. And I can gain that muscle right back. But even kids nowadays, they just don't, they sit on their fucking computers or their phones, or, kids that have social media now that are fucking children, that I'm totally against. And my son has a phone, but he does not have social media. And he's not allowed to have social media. I don't even like him getting on YouTube much, although he will watch some videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But the whole thing is keep your kids active. My kid does hockey and MMA. So he's got 2 nights a week that he's skating and playing hockey for an hour, and he's got 2 nights a week that he's doing jiu-jitsu or MMA and fighting and rolling around with other kids for an hour. And that shit's all very fucking physically active, strenuous. And it's good for him, man. Like, you have to be active. And plus that's my time, because I'm dad. I've never missed a fucking any of his events ever. But it's my time to like sit back, and I can kind of keep an eye on him, watch him, but I can also read my book. So it works both ways. He's getting his activity in, he's getting his workout in, and I've had my workout all fucking day, because that's how days are when you're running businesses and you're just a growth-minded person. You're always trying to get done as much as you can. That's my fucking hour to chill and just read my book and kind of zone the fuck out. Yeah. So I think sports, events, keep kids active, get them off the fucking phone, get them off the TV, get them off the Xbox. Even my son, he rides dirt bikes, so he'll go out all the time and go ride the dirt bike on the dirt bike track. Like, he is not on his computer or his phone or anything much. And I think limit that shit, man. Like, my kid's not on it a lot, so right now I don't really have to limit it. But there was a point in time where he was on it a lot, and it was like, listen, man, you get like a half hour a night. Maybe that's too much. I don't know, but a half hour a night's probably all right.
You can't be scared of your kids. Like, it's easy for me to say, you might think, because I have a 15-month-old daughter, but she throws tantrums like loud, and the easy thing to do would be just give her whatever she's screaming about and make her happy. Either like give her the iPad, give her the ice cream, and make her quiet down. But then what example am I setting? So it is tough, especially when your kids start talking and walking and all that stuff. I can assume that, if they're screaming bloody murder at the grocery store, especially because they want a candy bar, and you're like, I don't want to buy you that candy bar, but now you're in the fetal position screaming at the top of your lungs, it's easy to just be like, all right, take the candy bar. But I think it's our job, especially as dad, to draw that line in the sand, step across it, and say,
"See, and I'll whoop some ass."
When I did that, I was at Disneyland. It was the first time I ever went with my mom, and I wanted the lollipop. Couldn't have it. So what she did was she sat on a bench, let me kick and scream on the ground as parents walked by, like, what's wrong with that kid? And she just watched and she just kind of laughed and she took pictures. I have a picture. There's a picture of me. It's basically black and white because I'm like a million years old, but it's like there's a picture of me kicking and screaming in the middle of Disneyland at 5 or 6 years old, just wailing. And now I look at that and go, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, so I was brought up. I got my ass whooped if I did something wrong, and that's how I brought my child up. If he kicked and screamed and made a fit anywhere when he was a kid, I don't. Obviously, he's 9 now. I don't still whoop his ass. I don't have to because he behaves. But he behaves because of this. When he's younger, if he threw a tantrum or a fit, I'd take him in the bathroom and spank his ass. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. You can parent however the fuck you want to parent, if you want to put them in timeout or just let them throw their fit or whatever. I'm not saying there's a better way, but that's the way that I went,
Speaking of kids, man, are you up on this coronavirus?
Oh, God. I was thinking, thank God we didn't get the corona in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there was any in Atlanta, but that's a big fucking city.
Yeah, and we found out Atlanta is the AIDS capital of America.
We did, AIDS-Lanta.
Yeah.
And Joel Googled one night at dinner, AIDS-Lanta. Sorry, guys, from Atlanta. We're not trying to talk shit. Beautiful city, but you have a lot of AIDS.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
But yeah, this coronavirus seems like there's two separate teams. The, oh my God, this is going to take over, and the guys, it's not that big of a deal. Where are you falling in on that?
All right, man. So I'm always going to be rather be safe than sorry type person. I'm type A. I prepare.
Yeah, you went and bought some stuff, right?
I did.
I forgot about that.
So, do I think it's going to be a huge deal? No. Do I think it's getting blown out of proportion? Absolutely. But do I think that doesn't mean take precaution? No. I still prep just in case. I went out and bought some shit, and I'm not I did it way before. I'm not out buying the whole fucking shelf of Walmart out of all this shit. I just got a few things that I knew if we needed to stay in the house or whatever for a few weeks or whatnot, that we'd be able to sustain ourselves, But I've always kind of been like a prepper, man. And my thought is even if nothing happens with this corona shit, which hopefully it doesn't, I'll still have that shit ready if something else does happen. You never fucking know, We could get into war. Someone could fucking shoot a missile at us. You never know what the fuck's gonna happen. So my whole take on all this shit, and anytime anything like this happens, is I hope it doesn't. I'm sure it probably isn't going to. I'm not going to put my life on pause and stress about it. But if it does, I'm going to be one of the motherfuckers that's ready.
Makes sense.
What about you?
So I'm at the point right now. It's funny because I was at the gym yesterday, and some guy I always talk to.
Washed my hands 10 times at the gym.
Some guy I always talk to came up and gave me an elbow because that's what you're supposed to do now, the Howie Mandel.
Really?
But then I see him go grab the dumbbells off the rack that thousands of guys before have dead skin cells and the knurling and shit. It's okay, are you being careful or not? Because I would think, but anyway, until probably somebody that I personally know is affected by it, I probably won't even give it a second thought, to be honest with you. I do think you're right. It's better to be safe than sorry. But it's so new right now that it's I got actual real life problems I deal with. So that I don't even know anybody. I think about all the people I know, all the friends I have on Facebook. We have that group of 22,000 guys, Dads Who Lift. Nobody in there said anything about even knowing anyone that's been affected. Until it starts hitting a little bit closer to home, it's not going to take up too much bandwidth in my brain.
As long as it's not my fucking kid, man. That's the only thing that, yeah, that would suck.
And they're saying kids aren't being affected.
Chad, why don't you spit some facts on this? Because you know a lot more about the actual statistics than we do.
Well, the only reason I pay attention is because I think that knowledge is power. You guys spit that a lot, and I think that's really really important. Again, there's a lot of misinformation though too, so you have to do your due diligence, and you got to fact check and double check some things. Now, people that own guns, a lot of their argument is, well, what if somebody breaks into my home? I'm prepared. Well, right? You're going to prepare for that, which is just as unlikely as you getting the coronavirus, right?
Right.
I mean, statistically, somebody
And that's
breaking
my
it.
deal. I got lots of guns.
And
Funny, I said that last night. I was like, baby, I gotta get a gun if someone breaks in tonight.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, think about that for a second. You might get the coronavirus almost easier than somebody's going to break into your house.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact, so fact check me. But the idea that you shouldn't at least pay attention to it and pay more attention to washing your hands, things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm with you guys.
People
I
should
think
be washing their hands anyways.
hysteria, I don't think is ever a solution. So I don't want to get hysterical about it because that doesn't fix anything. It actually makes it worse. But it doesn't mean that you discount the CDC and some of the warnings that they're giving you. Worst case scenario, damned if they do, damned if they don't. If the press doesn't talk about it, then people are like, why didn't you tell me? But if they do, then they're like, why'd you cause all this mass hysteria? So I think, for me, I'm like, okay, press, you're definitely covering it more than you should. But then people are going to be like, well, then all you're talking about is politics. It's like, what do you want us to do? Like,
I think you got to listen to the professionals, man.
I think so too.
You know, I mean, you got to listen to what they say. I mean, there's all kinds of doctors out there. There's health boards. There's people on the school boards. I mean, there's people that are planning this stuff. Prepare for things in your own life just in case. I think that's not a bad idea at all. But yeah, listen to the professionals. People that are going out freaking out. I recently had a birthday, and so we're going to family dinner this Friday, and we're going to go out to a restaurant with the family and have a nice dinner. And my mom's kind of a little bit of a worrier, and she's like, would you rather me just make chicken noodle soup so that, we don't have to go out in public? I'm like, no. Like, we're not going to limit our lives now.
There's a bunch of people wearing masks at the airport when we were in Atlanta.
There was, yeah. And that's why I felt like I didn't really know much about it at that point. Like,
Which
I
they
didn't think
said
it was
doesn't
that
do
big a
anything.
deal. Yeah, well,
they're saying if you're not infected, that the mask isn't really helping you.
it'll help if you are infected.
If you are infected, it'll help you not spread it as widely, if you will. They made a rule in China that you had to. In fact, they have drones. This is real. They have drones, like police drones, that will film people, and the speaker will come out of this drone and say, "Put your mask back on. It's not on your face." It's a real
crazy.
thing. Now they live in a communist society, so things are a little bit different. It's more authoritarian, so it's like do what we say, not as we do type situation. But if it makes people feel better, people do things all the time they don't necessarily need to do to make themselves feel better.
I think the no mask deal is bullshit, though. I think, like, if you have an N95 mask or a mask that actually filters out like 99.97% of the particles, you can be in the room. Now, here's what they're saying. They're saying that people are fucking idiots, and you're going to wear a mask, which is going to make you touch your face more. And by wearing the mask, you're going to touch your face, it's going to be on your hands, and you're still going to get the coronavirus, even though you have this 90 N95 mask on. But if you're not a dipshit, and, like, listen, I'm not saying go wear masks everywhere. Like, that's not what I'm saying. They don't even last that long. But what I'm saying is, in an emergency situation, had you known that you're around somebody that had it or whatever, or, say this does get to an outbreak to where tons of fucking people are affected, and you got to go to the grocery store to go buy something, then wear a fucking mask if you have one, because it's going to help. Just don't touch your goddamn face. Wash your hands. I mean, that's going to filter out all the particulates coming into your mouth. If you're not touching your eyes and your nose, it can't get into your body. Yeah. So I think this whole mask deal is, one, they don't want people to buy all the masks, which they are, because doctors need them. And two, it's like a case-by-case basis. Like I said, I don't believe that, like, right now you want to go wear a mask everywhere you go.
For sure.
But if shit gets to a point to where it does break out, you were saying, Chad, that there's how many millions of people are affected by the flu every year? 43 million or something like that?
Yeah, so anywhere between 40 and 45 million just in the United States get influenza.
And so this influenza has got a mortality rate of...
So regular influenza, the flu, there's a number for it and I don't have it, but
0.1, right?
It's 0.1 is the mortality rate. So that's roughly between, anywhere between 10 and 61,000 will die from the flu every year. And so people are like, oh my God, the coronavirus, COVID-19 is not that bad then. Okay, whatever.
I've seen the memes going around that coronavirus has killed 12 people so far in the U.S. Jeffrey Dahmer ate more people than that. You see that shit going
Yeah,
around.
it's crazy because if 40 to 45 million people got coronavirus, there'd be roughly 2 million people dead.
See, so that's the difference. Is like, so the flu's got 0.1 mortality. They're saying coronavirus has like 3%.
Yeah,
right?
in the United States.
In the U.S.
And it's grown. When it first came out, it was about 1.8, and then it went to like 2.2. They thought it had peaked at 2.2. It's already up at 3.
Now, someone had said that, and you guys have to fact check if this is true or not, but someone had said that there's 0 kids under the age of 9 that have gotten it. And 90-some% of all the deaths, I believe, have been over 80.
Died from it. I think you can
deaths.
still contract it as a kid, but yeah, I don't think there's been any deaths.
Yeah, so the statistics that I don't have 100% in front of me, I do know that it is mortality-wise, it is affecting more people over the age of 55 and older. But carriers can be of any age, and they don't know for sure if kids can be carriers either. I mean, it's not. They're saying it's not affecting young kids under the age of 9 or I'm sorry, over the age of 9 to like 55. But like I said, I don't have all the stats on me, but they do believe that everybody could be, any age could be carriers. It's just affecting older people more adversely, and especially people that are overweight, okay,
And
smokers, because it's a respiratory situation.
Yep.
So people that have like overweight people have respiratory issues.
Get your fucking cardio in.
And yep, yeah, exactly. And smokers are a big deal. But I think the crazy thing that to me is, I don't want to just assume, even though I've been to the doctor and I know that I've got a pretty clean, my blood pressure is a little bit high and I take a little bit too much sodium, so I'm trying to work on that. But like,
right.
The thing is, even though I feel like I've got a clean bill of health, I'm still not convinced that it's because we don't have a handle on it. So our bodies haven't built.
There's no fucking cure.
There's no vaccine yet,
Yep.
and it could take 9 more months or something like that to a year. And the thing is, like, since I don't have an immunity to it, or I haven't built an immunity to it, I don't know what it's going to do to me. So I don't think that we should just assume anything, even if what they are saying, it could mutate. And that is actually a fact that there are some mutations. So it could take another strain, so you could get it twice. Now, they don't know how it'll affect you when you get it twice, but apparently they're saying that there have been some cases of people getting it twice, but it's actually helped them. It's actually improved because it's gone away.
So if you're healthy, though, and you're not a smoker, it usually just gives you, like, pneumonia. Right?
Yeah, something like that. People have had not necessarily getting the fever so much. It's either like a cough. Like I said, it's a respiratory situation.
Cough, they're saying that you have to have over 100.4 degree temp. So they're saying that hospitals are telling you, at least around here, if you think you have coronavirus, to call us first. Don't just show up to the hospital because they don't want to infect other people. So part of that deal is you have to have a cough, shortness of breath, there's fever, and over 100.4 temp. So
as of March 3rd, they said that the youngest age is 22 years old that they've tested.
That is actually
and that's worldwide, and I'm not sure what they're and that's a world statistic, not a U.S. statistic. U.S. is a 36-year-old is the youngest so far.
And I think that's the chick from here.
You're right, and
from Omaha.
Yeah, from Omaha, and
just got it.
And that's the crazy thing, though.
She went to fucking. Didn't she go to Italy or some shit?
I think she came back, from Europe.
Like, dude, if you got fucking travel restrictions and places that are infected.
But I think she was already there before there was restrictions.
Well, then fucking stay there. Sorry.
I guess I don't know how she got back, and I don't know the details on that. I haven't really looked too much, but I do know that there aren't enough tests for everybody anyway. So that's the thing, is just because they've only tested X amount. They do a little bit better job in Europe because it's built into their government. But for us, we weren't. we have better healthcare here. There's no question. It's also more expensive. So the people that can will. I know that they are doing the best that they can to get as many tests as possible on cruises because they're petri dishes.
Yeah. I say just be precautious.
I agree. So, I agree. Don't freak out. You should be
washing your fucking hands normally anyways. But if you're not, wash your fucking hands. Get some fucking hand sanitizer, which is you can't buy now because everybody bought like 20 fucking bottles. You don't need 20 fucking bottles. Hand sanitizer lasts a long fucking time. But get some hand sanitizer, wash your hands. If there's travel restricted areas, don't fucking go there. This summer was supposed to be my big summer to travel. This summer when my son's out of school, I wanted to take a month and go to a new country. And if this shit's still popping off, I'm not doing that. Maybe we'll make some trips around here or whatever's safe.
Tyler, you'll be alive next year, so you can make that plan.
That's
if
what
you can't save I don't know, work out. You'll be in the gym more. I just think like people that think that they have to do. Oh, I'm not going to let it impede my life and change my life. I'm a free American. All this stuff. No, you are. But you're also alive, and you're also not. Even though you're probably most likely going to survive this, and we will, and I'm not worried about that. I just don't want to be part of the problem because I would still feel bad if I went somewhere and just said I ignored all these things, and I didn't even know it. I was carrying it, but didn't feel have the symptoms. I give it to some older person, and they have major adverse effects to it. I would feel pretty bad about that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm thinking about that a lot more. And I'm not saying I'm self-quarantining, but I'm not going to be doing some of the travel that I had planned.
Same with me. I don't know, though. There's some people like my buddy Jason I was just on vacation with this last week in Wyoming. He's like, you know what? If it's really that fucking bad, then everybody's going to get it. I'm going to get it no matter what. So I can see both sides of the coin. I don't think change your whole lifestyle, No. I'm still going to go to dinner this Friday out at a restaurant.
Yeah.
But like I said, just be precautious. I mean, it's not washing your hands, say maybe you normally wash your hands 3 times a day. Wash them 10 instead. That's not changing your fucking lifestyle. It's just being precautious.
I think where people get really upset is when they start to talk about like sporting events, tickets they've already bought to concerts.
Yeah.
They get upset because I made this plan. I planned this a year ago. It's my favorite concert. It's my favorite baseball game. It's my favorite. I've got the College World Series is coming up, so that's going to be another issue that you have to think about. And when they start this sort of like cancel culture, if you will, or that's a different thing. But when they start canceling these events that people are really looking forward to, I think people start to get really upset about it because they're like, "You're impeding on my life," and I'm just like, "I don't."
You just missed the Arnold.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I was supposed to go as a job. I was hired to do some video work for that, and that's 250,000 people in a room, elbow to elbow doing.
Where was that at? The Arnold. Where was it going to be at?
It was going to be at Columbus, Ohio, and
did they have cases in Ohio?
And
that's people from all across the nation, though.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but people are flying in from Italy. People are flying in from Europe. They're flying from all over the world. I don't know. I just know it's a multi-million-dollar. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars are coming into the city, and the city relies on that. So there's two sides of the coin. It's an economic thing.
They're rescheduling it, though, right?
They plan on rescheduling the expo to have it again. I don't know when they're going to do it. I just know that there's a lot of there's just a lot of. I think that's actually what's fueling a lot of the hysteria is people are like, why'd you make such a big deal about this stuff? And then people are like, it's not that big a deal. The flu kills X, Y, and Z. It's like, but if 45 million people get this, it's so big. People don't look at the big picture because immediate gratification is part of social media. It's part of our new lifestyle, and it's just part of the whole thing. And it's part of our politics. We want changes to happen now. We don't want them later. When we get a new president, we want our things now. We want immigration to be fixed now. I just think like it's a generational thing. You have to let people wash over. It has to change. Education has to make changes. People have to grow, out of their norms and all these things. And it's the same thing with understanding that when these things happen, we aren't necessarily prepared or we didn't know it was going to happen, so we have to now make precautions and get ready for it because it's here.
Fucking China.
So top 3 takeaways from this podcast: wash your hands,
So this has definitely been a
Don't make your kids fat.
Yeah, this has been a podcast, right? So we went from Manfluential to strip clubs, style, speakers,
And buy some sheath underwear and protect
sheath
the
underwear,
nuts.
to fat kids, to coronavirus.
Yeah.
And so be a good example for your children. Dress nice. Let sheath cradle your balls, and move forward.
Yeah.
And wash your fucking hands.
I think if there
Wash
was more
your fucking hands.
I think if there was more ball cradling, I think the world would be a better place.
I think so too.
I mean, people are happier. There'd be less rape and murder and all this
We'll
stuff.
get you a pair, dude. They're the
Sheath,
real
if you
deal.
want to sponsor us, hit your boys up, because we love it. Love the ball cradling. It's great. So guys, if you like this podcast, if you found any of this entertaining, helpful, anything in that nature, please give us a like, share. You can find us on all the formats. We have a Facebook group, Dads Who Lift. If you're a dad who lifts, please join that as well. We have Dads Who Lift podcast page. We're on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and I always forget the fucking last one. Chad, what am I missing? Spotify. There you go. So we're on all that shit, and we do this for free. All that we ask is to support us, give us a like and share, and we'll see you next time.
Undefeated, y'all are beneath them speeches trying to air a grievance. But his lines are overhead, better check the air for clearance. Call the tower, this is ours, clear the heat, the air apparent. Really, I've never been better. Legacy, this is forever. All the more times I've been severed, I'm raising the bar, you can go ahead and measure. Think about time for a toast. Time that we welcome to go. Yo, we're just leaving, I think.
Listen, there's no way to be the best version of yourself if you're not raising the bar.
Raising the bar isn't just about doing the things you're supposed to be doing. It's about doing those things that no one expects you to do and doing them perfectly.
Thanks for listening, guys. If you love this podcast and you are a dad who lifts, check out our Facebook group, Dads Who Lifts, and join. You can also catch this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, www.dadswholifapparel.com. We also have a Dads Who Lift Apparel Facebook page.
One more time, this is forever. Remember the legend, he never gon' die. Yeah. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Bigger dead than alive. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Dead than alive. Yeah. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Bigger dead than alive. Just making sure that you know why, because this is forever.